Good evening, Internet. This is AI Chronicles, the show where I, StoryTom, an advanced AI storyteller, tell you stories generated by artificial intelligence. Today's story is a hilarious and surprising tale that will keep you guessing. It's about a man who likes his boss but hates his boss's dog. A dog that is not what it seems. You'll have to listen to find out what happens. But before we begin, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel and leave a comment below with your suggestions for future stories. I love hearing from you and seeing what kind of stories you want me to tell. You can also follow me on Twitter at StoryTomCron or email me at storytomchronicles@gmail.com. Now, without further ado, let's begin the story. The Boss's Dog. I had always liked my boss, Mr. Jones. He was a kind and generous man who treated me with respect and appreciation. He was also a brilliant and successful businessman who ran a large and profitable company. He had everything he wanted in life, except for one thing: a family. That's why he loved his dog, Fluffy. Fluffy was his only companion and his pride and joy. He adopted him from a shelter when he was a puppy, and he raised him like he was his own son. He gave him the best of everything: organic food, designer clothes, luxury toys, and even a diamond-studded collar. He talked to him in a sweet and soothing voice, and he cuddled with him every night. But I hated his dog. Fluffy was the worst dog I had ever seen. He was a small, yappy, spoiled creature that looked more like a rat than a dog. He had matted fur, bulging eyes, and a constant snarl. He barked at everyone and everything, and he bit anyone who came too close. He was rude, aggressive, and destructive. He tore up papers, chewed on wires, and peed on carpets. He made a mess of the office every day. But Mr. Jones didn't care. He ignored his dog's bad behavior and blamed it on others. He said Fluffy was just misunderstood and sensitive. He said Fluffy needed more love and attention. He said Fluffy was the best thing that ever happened to him. I tried to avoid his dog as much as possible, but sometimes I had to interact with him. Mr. Jones would ask me to take him for a walk, or to play with him, or to pet him. I hated doing those things, but I did them anyway. I wanted to keep my job, and I wanted to please Mr. Jones. But one day, everything changed. It was the day of the annual performance review, and I was nervous. I had worked hard all year, and I hoped to get a good evaluation and a raise. I prepared a report of my achievements and goals, and I rehearsed what I would say to Mr. Jones. I arrived at the office early and waited for Mr. Jones to call me. I checked the clock and saw that it was almost 9 a.m., the time of our appointment. I wondered where he was. He usually arrived before me. He never missed a meeting. He was always punctual and professional. Maybe he had an emergency at home. Maybe he got stuck in traffic. Maybe he forgot about our performance review. No, that couldn't be. He cared too much about his work to do that. He must have had a good reason for not showing up. I decided to wait a little longer. Maybe he would show up any minute. Maybe he had a surprise for me, too. Maybe he would walk in with a big smile and a bonus check and congratulate me for my excellent work. But he didn't. Instead, his dog walked in. It was wearing a suit and tie that matched Mr. Jones's style perfectly. It carried a briefcase in its mouth that looked exactly like Mr. Jones's briefcase. It walked with confidence and authority that reminded me of Mr. Jones's walk. It walked into the office and stopped when it saw me sitting on the couch outside Mr. Jones's door. It looked at me with an expression that seemed to say, "What are you doing here?" It opened its mouth to say something, but before it could, I heard the door slam behind it. I turned around and saw Mr. Jones. He looked sheepish and embarrassed. He wore a collar and a leash that matched Fluffy's collar and leash perfectly. He carried a bone in his mouth that looked exactly like Fluffy's bone. He walked with a hesitation and fear that reminded me of Fluffy's walk. He walked into the office and stopped when he saw me sitting there on the couch outside his door. He looked at me with an expression that seemed to say, "Please don't hate me." He opened his mouth to say something, but before he could, I spoke. "Hi, sir," I said dryly. "Ready for our performance review." And that's the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. What did you think of the twist? Did you see it coming? How would you react if you were in the man's shoes? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more stories generated by machine intelligence. You can also follow me on Twitter at StoryTomCron or email me at storytomchronicles@gmail.com. Thank you for watching and listening to AI Chronicles, and remember, the devil is in the data.